to invite BK Sister Gaitree, who has joined the organization in 1976 and has acquired a wide range of experience in spirituality over the last 45 years. After 23 fruitful years in the government service through various ministries, she resigned from her job to completely dedicate herself for Baba's service. What a beautiful instrument of Baba. Presently, Sister Gaitree is the chairperson of the Brahma Kumaris World Spiritual University Trust in Mauritius. She oversees activities in all centers in the north and the inner space in the capital of the island, Port Louis. Today we have a beautiful subject, Reminiscences down the memory lane of the soul's journey. It is my honor and privilege to invite Sister Gaitree to please continue with a session which we are all very eager to listen to. Om Shanti, Sister, and you're welcome to please go ahead.
Om Shanti. Dear divine sisters and brothers, it's indeed a great pleasure to meet you. Although we don't see each other, but I think all those who are here present today, I'm really grateful for you. I'm also grateful to Brother Vimish, who has invited me specially, and it's wonderful to be able to meet people at Amrit Vela. Usually we have programs during the day. So I'm thankful especially because it has given me an excellent opportunity to revise Avyaktvani's of 2010. I would never have done it on my own. So going through the Avyaktvani's, there are many things that emerged in my mind, things that made me, come on the alert. Like Baba's been talking a lot of things about time. So what I have done today is that I have taken some notes, which in between perhaps I will refer to, especially at the end, or maybe in between, because I want to keep it as a flow. So before I share what I have in mind about the topic, I would like to listen to that song. The first song which I gave to you, it was on Yatra. We invite you all to listen to that song.
Om Hari Om, chal hansa us desh jahan ture piya base. पूनम है हर रात वहाँ पर, हो न कभी अंधियारा। लाखों सूरज मिलकर निस दिन करे वहाँ उजियारा। उस नगरी में नेह का निर्मल दीप जरे मन हर से दिन राती। बस्ती बस्ती पर्वत पर्वत ढूंढे तुम्हें निगाहें, तुमसे चले और तुम तक पहुँचे मेरे मन की राही। ये है यात्रा मेरी यात्रा, ये है यात्रा मेरी यात्रा, ये है यात्रा मेरी यात्रा।
भी लिस्ट लंबी है। नथिंग न्यू की स्मृति, ब्राह्मण जीवन।
Om Shanti. So we have all heard the song. If we internalize the meaning of the song and reflect on what does it mean to us, the yatra, they are speaking about the devotees. So how they have been inspired to create words that also resonate with us. So we have been also doing this pilgrimage along with them. It was in Copper and Iron Age. And now we have reached a point where we have already reached the destination somehow. Not all of us have reached the destination totally. I would say the Dadis, Brahma Baba, they have reached that top point, whereas we are still journeying towards it. So the topic I have chosen is that reminiscences in a memory lane of the soul's journey. So if we look at the instructions, the advice, the Shrimat, the directions that Baba has been giving, again and again, he has been referring to Confluence Age as a wonderful age, auspicious age, Kalyankari Yug. So many qualifications Baba has been giving to Confluence Age. But the most beautiful one which I have chosen for this topic today is Baba said Confluence Age is the top notch, is the top point. So I think this gives us an idea that when we are standing on a mountain top and we are looking down, we see so many perspectives that we would not have seen had we been down below. So that top point is a stage where we have risen beyond the law of gravity, beyond body consciousness. And as observers, when we watch our roles throughout the ages in the cycle, golden, silver, copper, and iron age, Baba has been asking us again and again also to have the traffic control of going to him again and again after each hour. And then he's been adding, he said that now and again, you come to me. Right now, let's check. As we are listening through these ears, or I'm talking through my mouth, are we Baba with us? But then Baba has been asking us, child, have this 5-form drill. Yes, the drill of 5 forms. First, as a point of light in our incorporeal form, bodiless stage. Then he refers to our role, worship-worthy role in golden age, silver age. Then copper age, we come to see ourselves as the worship-worthy beings. Then here at the end of iron age, the beginning of golden age, Baba has been giving us the 2 real drill that we need to come into is being aware of our role as Brahmins and also as angels. Yes. So one is when we listen to it, we can listen to it just as a point of knowledge, going through our various roles in the cycle. And the other one is visualization and experiential. We try to move to those different times in the cycle. From an internalizing point of view, we feel it, we experience it. So this is the journey, experiencing it, the 5 forms, and reaching where we need to go, because on Baba says Confluence Age is also Tivate. That is, we have 3 ways where we are going. Either we go back to Iron Age if we are weak, or we go to Soul World, we choose, or we just move to Golden Age in our mind, in our experiences while we are doing this drill. So I have a practice here in the center every day during Murli. After the traffic control we have at 7, we have this drill of the 5 forms. And everyone get up and they move in the 5 directions. So when we move physically, it's like we are having something to do with the body, but at the same time visualizing the experiential part. And it's almost 2 years we have been doing it. So every time we all stand up and do this drill, personally, I have experienced that we do have glimpses of that state of mind where we ought to be when we talk about those 5. when we say bodiless. So we experience ourselves in a different dimension, in a space unlimited, infinite. That space takes us to Paramdham, that state of mind. On top of that, because when we are in the Paramdham, as souls, we won't have those knowledge that we are having right now. So Baba said the beauty of going to the soul world, of being that point of light, of being bodiless, is when we are in this body, Brahman body. So when we are doing this drill, we have a glimpse of that blissful, that state of being where we are in unlimited space. And you can imagine it's a space where we feel how creative we can become. But when we are in the point stage, we don't use that creativity. We are just enjoying that state. So that's a wonderful journey. That's also a pilgrimage. And then when we come to golden age, here also it's a scope for seeing a lot of glimpses. It could be any aspect of golden age. It could be the aspect of the soul. Like Baba mentions the word Jivan Mukti. We are in the body and yet we are not in the body. We feel separate from the body. So this glimpse, I'm just giving you just a few words, but otherwise the span of experiences we can have when we visit golden age is unlimited. How does it feel like? What will you be? How Baba says you'll be wearing a lot of jewelries there. And then Baba says sometimes we children think that how heavy it would be. But then these glimpses and how does it feel like to be in nature? I won't take it. I'm just opening the subject, some random thoughts that I'm sharing with you, inviting you as well. I'm sure you must be doing this exercise on your own as well. So having these glimpses, it's like we are revisiting our memory lane and we are enjoying this experience of golden age. Certainly, I'm sure all of us would love to have more and more glimpses and revelations of what life would be in golden age as a deity, when everything is in perfect unity, harmony, and there's plenty of qualities that we're experiencing without giving a word to it. Like, here we have a lot of vocabulary. I'm sure, like Baba says, in golden age, we won't speak a lot, and it will be a very simple language and very few words we must be speaking, I presume. And then when we come to our worship worthy stage, then also we can, I don't know, I sometimes have a feeling that I can see myself in a temple, or sometimes this temple or that temple. I can't see exactly, but I have just a feeling that we are in the temples, or we see ourselves as where our memorial have been as deities, and perhaps in some homes or perhaps in some situations where people in the bhakti path, they are having puja, or they are having these festivals where they're invoking the deities. That glimpses also gives us a wonderful feeling of being beyond. And then when we come to Sangam Yug, here Baba's been giving these two forms that we have to be perfect Brahmins. So how do we feel like to be Brahmin, and looking after the various aspects of our life as a Brahmin? And then we also view ourselves as the angel. So each one gives us scope. So this is one aspect of what we would say that our visiting the memory lane. And what happens is that there are impressions surfacing in our mind here and there. That's, as we say in French, grosso modo, means in collectively, like as a mass. But then when we come on the micro level of my personal journey, sometimes there are impressions. In French, we use the word déjà vu, déjà vécu. Means we have seen, we have lived. So there are places, there are people, there are objects sometimes, and they are just feelings that come from deep inside us. Suddenly some images come in our mind. There are sometimes maybe we hear a word, maybe sometimes we are listening to some beautiful songs, or we look through a poem, or sometimes just suddenly pop out. And I would say these impressions, how they are triggered, we don't know, but I presume that the more we are aligned with ourselves as a being, a soul in the space of silence, we are sort of fertilizing them in the process. That is one aspect of revisiting those places. So, those impressions that we have gathered in our memory lane, we have two types, what we would say as positive impressions, beautiful, wonderful impressions, and then also we would say the unpleasant ones. Unpleasant ones, like they are scars within the soul of the negativities, of the negative scenes that we have been engaged into. And these are what are manifesting as our weaknesses. So when they come, they float beyond, they come on the surface of our mind as feelings or emotions. They submerge us, then we are unable to operate as divine beings. But then we here in Sangam Yug, when I say that, I refer to that we are in that top point. So when we are on the top point, we look at those paths that we have been crossing, that we have been traveling as eternal travelers. When we see those negative, we witness those negative impressions in our mind, they are no more affecting us because we are well above it. And then there's a sense of adventure looking at those, and then when we come to Baba, then Baba is giving us a whole series of memorials through the unlimited gyan that he shares with us, like during the 4 Murlis. I think that we just you had, and I'm happy to say that I was wonderfully struck by the way you have been doing disciplined way, going through those Avyakvanis. And I'm sure when you have been going through those studies, you must have been evoking and invoking those memories. Like for Shivratri, we had for Brahma Baba. We have for Brahma Baba, and we can see that what are the memorials that Baba has given. But also in the Bhakti Marg, we will say Bhakti Marg and the Gyan Marg, we are meeting point. So there are certain symbols or images. I'm sure that we have been the people who have started the whole thing because the knowledge was delivered to us last cycle. So in golden and silver age, we are all happy because we don't need to remember anything. We're so well. We feel so well. Then we come to copper age. And when we come to copper age, this is where the impact of matter on our mind gets makes our divine virtues blurred a little bit, and then we start experiencing some pain or sorrow. Then we go on a search, and then those, I'm sure there must have been souls like Jagdish Bhai or some of those BKs who have been going into deep research work and have come up with wonderful literature or sharings. Along with Brahma Baba, we have our daddies. So probably this is also a presumption. I'm sure they must be the one who has written those scriptures. But in the beginning, in Copper Age, it was, I think, relatively very still pure in their pure state. They have used a lot of symbols and images gradually in Copper Age. And when we see the image of Brahma Baba sitting in Sukshmavatan with on seated on the lotus, and the stories that coming Vishnu coming out of the navel of Brahma, Brahma coming out of the navel of Vishnu. This gives us, a lot of insight, some signpost. When we reach Iron Age, it's, as we say, total darkness. So we have a lot of additions and a lot of imagination going into the scriptures that were written in Copper Age. So then there's a mess, and people can hardly find the truth out of all the things. Like Baba says, namak, like salt in a sack of flour. So in that way, we have just a little taste, but the truth is completely erased from our mind. And then when Baba comes, he reminds us. He also takes support of the songs that he says that people were inspired to create, but they themselves do not know why they have put it. And now some of the songs in Bhakti, Baba gives us again and again, like we have just listened to the one on Yatra. And I happen to appreciate the old songs that those people have been speaking about time. And I was just telling Sister Raki by the end of this session, I would like you all to reflect to that. There's the song on Kal Kapahiya, and when we go over the wheel of time, there are a lot of reminiscences that surge on the surface of our mind. Maybe maybe we won't be able to recall properly, recall totally, I mean. Yes, and it's very good we don't recall. There's a proverb which says that forgetfulness is bliss. I'm sure that if we forget our various roles in person that we have been playing through these 63 birth or 21 birth there, gold and silver, I'm sure we would have been submerged by those feelings. So Baba's, I would say that it's a blessing that we forget what we have been to. Otherwise, life would have been indeed a mess. So when these souvenirs, they just pop out, they like when we go through this journey inside. There are sometimes like very good feelings come when we have a glimpse of the journey that the soul has been doing to keep itself abreast in copper and iron age. We have had those support of I would say that Baba, Brahma Baba, and the Dadis, the first Brahmins that came during those years of tapasya. Even in the path of bhakti, I feel they must be sustaining us as guides. And now Baba has come personally as guide, no? He's been giving all this knowledge. And sometimes when we meet Baba personally, of course, in yoga we do have subtle meetings with Baba. But then when I remember when I first met Baba in 1978, I was still very young and I was still grappling with knowledge and not so clear things. I'm just the grosso modo, and the whole pattern of knowledge was clear, but I was not going into the details. So what happened? I was just one day in Mount Abu. We have been visiting. We were about 4 or 5 of us. We visited the pilgrimage places that we have in Mount Abu. We went to Achalghar, Guru Shikhar, Dilwara, and when we came, because at that time Baba was meeting, regularly, almost after one day, the next day, or over alternate days, Baba used to come. And then at that time, Baba used to meet us personally. So when I came in front of Baba, Baba was saying that, so you have been to Achalghar and you have been to Dilwala temple. And I was so young and still wondering, and I was just thinking, yes, in front of Baba, I was thinking that, how does this one know where I have been? Can you imagine how naive I was at that time? And then now when I see myself, I see how the awakening process takes time. But now, if we go through the murlis that you have been all revising, Baba has been driving us to do instant efforts. And I will just scan some of the notes on because you have been doing the revision and I also did it. So we're going to have through the glimpses of those murlis. So here it is. So just very quickly, we are going to just go through it. And then I'll come back afterwards on the topic of these reminiscences, what happens when we go through them. So the first murli, I'm just going to take the one which is colored, special day. Day of remembrance, Smriti and Vismriti. I immediately go back into my past murlis. Like when Baba's been speaking about Day of Remembrance, a lot of murlis he has been doing on Sakar and Avyak, on Smriti and Vismriti. So the whole game of our life is on remembering and forgetting. The Day of Love, I'm sure you also, I'm inviting you to reflect at the same time. When you remember the 18th January as the Day of Love, what comes in your mind? There are many, many things that can come. How things are triggered, because it's all coming from our memory lane. The confluence of the rivers, we into the ocean. The Day of Power, how we become, how we get empowered when we have this awareness, especially. And Baba in this Murli spoke about awareness, the lack of awareness. Then there's also the day of receiving blessings, Vardhan, or powers to become angel, day of coronation, the passing over of the crown of responsibility, for world service to instrument. And very, very nicely, Baba in between has just drawn our attention to time. Never say sometime, but now. Come into up. Then suddenly, ever ready, long term. When Baba has been speaking about suddenly, I think in 2010 there must have been a lot of play of the five elements showing their impact. So in all the four murlis, somewhere here and there, Baba has been just giving us those things popping out. Then the preparation. Attention to our preparation. Some questions. Have we settled the accounts of our karma when we're talking about our reminiscences? So those negative impressions that just pop out somewhere in our mind in terms of our feelings, of the weaknesses, I would say these are indication that we still have a lot of accounts to settle. Then he spoke about Gyan, Yog, Dharana, Seva, the four subjects, which he has picked up again in the next Murli. So we can observe how Baba so diligently has been leading us step by step, and the journey is always, always on. The experience of complete and unlimited disinterest in terms of preparation. Are we ever ready in our heart? Conqueror of attachment and embodiment of remembrance. And for Brahma Baba, how he has journeyed, and he is the first Panda, the guide, who has been listening to Shiv Baba and guiding us step by step. Even before Baba came into his body, he was having this diary. So again, Baba suggested in the next Murli coming that we also have a timetable of our mind when we can experience, especially the practice of bodiless stage, to become the angel that Brahma Baba already became. We have a difference also, Baba mentioned, in the Karma Yoga stage while performing actions. Difference, especially in between Amrit Vela experience and when we are engaged in our activities. So what Baba mentioned was next, lack of the awareness, Karanhar, Karavanhar, set on the seat of experience, seat of self-respect, master almighty authority, and order our mind, intellect, and sanskar as a king. Maybe we can take a wee bit of few seconds and see ourselves set on that seat. I, the soul, Karanhar. In what sense that I am the king, the sovereign, the master. I'm seeing my mind, my intellect, and my sanskar. They are all in unison now, they're all in united in the action that I'm doing, is in sharing my impressions with you. And you must be, I'm sure, set in your own position of souls listening, and together we are making a collective effort of the real journey that we should be engaged constantly. So I pick up the notes again. Bab Dada wants that while performing actions, each of his children become a king child, master of the self, doesn't let go of the seat of self-sovereignty. Make a timetable for your mind during the activities. Then there was a beautiful excerpt of the Murli that made us journey into Golden Age, making the bridge between where we have been, where we are, and where we are going. All sitting here are heirs. I'll say, you have come in the royal family. A couple will sit on it, but when the court is held there, the special instrument, souls of the royal family that sit there will be crowned. They do not sit without a crown. There will be those who are consulted for every task. It is not just the one who will rule. They do everything there with consultation. And this is why you want to receive the full inheritance then from the first birth to 21 birth. So again, Baba has been drawing our attention to time again and again in all four Murlis. The instructions he gave was according to time. Instead of a course, we have to give a course of force. That those souls do not become just loving and cooperative with the Father, but become souls who follow every Shrimat, filled with total force, become close jewels. You will continue to see in a practical way what you never thought or dreamt about. Yes, you will continue to see in a practical way what you never thought or dreamt about. You see the leeway, the space we are having. Like we can also go in the future and say, oh, what is it that Baba is going to see, to show me? Then remember this, Baba says, I'm a lamp of Bab Dada's hopes. Bab Dada's instruction for each one of us is, you have to become this. Accept that you are never going to use the word sometime. It has to be right now. Who has seen tomorrow? I'm sure you must also have done a lot of notes. So I won't go over all those notes, but I will be sending you. Then the next one was the second Murli, I said the connecting points. You see, it was Karma Yogi in the previous one, then Natural Yogi life. One who has self-respect is a self-sovereign master of the self. Baba spoke about self-respect. Turn the beads of the rosary of self-respect and get absorbed in each self-respect. Embodiment of the authority of experience, become lost in the experience of being a karma yogi while performing action. Become an embodiment of experience of knowledge, the four subjects. The steps, if we reflect on the steps, we think, Baba say don't think, we need to experiment, experience, then being an embodiment. When we become embodiment, we are in our self-respect, a self-respect which no one can shake. It's like switching on the light and we see darkness disappearing, darkness referring to our moments of weaknesses, darkness which is totally automatically erased when we have those moments of realization, the aha moment, time to become equal to the Father. There are steps, we become equal, then only we can come close, then we get lost in Baba's love, natural yogi life, so on and so forth. So I'm going to stop here. The notes I'll be sending it to you. You can, if you wish, to have a look at it, like compare and see where we can join our experience together, because what I believe that each one of us, according to the stage we have reached, we have that energy field, the energy field of our vibrations, which even Lokic people have been doing a lot of studies over that. And they have also been slowly coming to the realization that we are having, but in a different jargon. They are using different words. So moving from the gross to the subtle, we can see in the Lokic studies, comparative Lokic studies, they have come across, because Baba also has come as our greatest Vaid healer to return us to our original state. They are using what is called aromatherapy. So they use the essence. So Baba is also moving us to the essential part, to how to be the essence of our teachings. And he's been speaking about coming back to the point stage. We experience ourselves as point. So now I switch on to something that I had before I came in this knowledge. One of the experiences that I have had of my reminiscence, the souvenirs that came popping up, was that when I was still very young, still a child, I was searching for God. And whenever we have had prayers or doing anything, any ceremony, I used to go into deep thought, thinking about it. God came to me, Baba came to me, but I wouldn't realize. I remember we were sitting for a Hawan, and the family was there. And at the end, we used to have a practice. The practice was that we used to say Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And after that, we were invited to observe silence. So when we observe silence, when I was a child observing silence, I closed my eyes and I could see spark of light dancing in front of my eyes. And I was wondering, I said, maybe that's a play of my eyes. But then as I grew up, it started coming as I went into my adolescent age, and then from my youth, I started having nightmare. What sort of nightmare I was having? At night, I used to see myself being reduced to a tiny point, even smaller than an ant. And I was really afraid. And I said, well, what's going to happen to me? People will crush me like anything. I will die. And then the next moment I found myself growing, big, so big, so huge that I could hardly, in that nightmare, I could hardly hold a pen or a pencil to write something. And then again, I got afraid and my sleep was broken. And I remember now that these were the things that I was going through. The soul was already getting ready to receive this knowledge. So in this way, I can see that even before I came with this knowledge, there were things happening that preparing me to receive this gyan. And when we receive this gyan, the reminiscences that Baba's been giving, like I related to you, the one when I was in Mount Abu, the first time I met Baba, and what were the words he shared with me. And I was wondering, well, how could he know all those things that he's speaking to me, and so on and so forth. I'm sure by sharing, I'm sure that many of you have been thinking that, yes, we also have had those experiences. Perhaps I would like to now, because I was supposed to be on half an hour or so, I'm going to ask you we can observe some moment of silence. And I'm going to invite you, I'd like to hear any one of you who has been responding to it, if you can recall anything of the past, whether it is our past life impressions surging as, experiences in this personal life, of the pleasant memories you have had, or maybe something you want to show on the pathway we have had in terms of our realization of our weaknesses. So can we have this moment of silence? And you start sharing after that. It should be natural. Any one of you would like to share, you can share. I would like to have this interaction so that I can gauge how this message that I'm sharing is reaching out to you. Okay. Yes, any one of you would like to share?
Om Shanti, sister.
Om Shanti.
I would just like to share that ever since I have been with Baba and in this journey of spiritual growth, and I practice that drill of being out of the body in an angelic state. That experience is one of the best experiences. In fact, I don't feel like coming back. Most of the time when I'm there, I'm just like, and especially if I just do it before sleeping or in the afternoon or in the morning at home. I'm, of course, a working professional, but whenever I do it on the side, I just feel like it's the most peaceful state. So I'm just like waiting for when my duty in the worldly state is done. I'm ready. Actually, I actually feel that I'm ready to die immediately, physically, because I feel that is the blessing of experiencing that state of being in the angelic state. Om Shanti.
Yes, that was also what Baba mentioned in the Murli of 18th, no? Was asking us, are we ever ready? Yeah, so you're ever ready. That's great. Anyone else?
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti Vimish Pai.
Yes. So, my connection with Baba, the way I would see what has been for me is having faith, surrendering and having faith. And like how Baba says, have trust in Brahma. And no matter what challenges show up, Baba says, paper will come. And all that we need to do is just to be stable in that state and see it through. Not coming from any kind of a body consciousness, but being aware that yes, this is drama, and that Father's there with us to take care of us and see it through. And even in the times when I'm traveling right now, in the last week, or I would say in the last 15 days, there have been certain challenging situations which would have otherwise emotionally bogged me down. But what Baba says, uh, Nishchay ne nishchint kiya, Nishchit Vijay Hamari. So once that faith that is there, that allows me to see it through. And that is what has allowed me to be completely free from any worries and see through any challenge gracefully. And that continues, sister.
Great, great. Yeah, I can feel that this is a group of souls, your group. You have been doing such intense study that you're already reaching a very high level. And when we were talking about vibrations, that each one of us carrying this energy field with us. Baba's been speaking about how we need to have collective efforts. We have in our practice that collective effort in the sense that we are having now sharings across different countries. So personally, I listen to Mohini Ben. They are having a program in US. The program is they have qualified it as Avyakti Parivar. And in those four murlis that we have revised, there's a nice reference Baba has been talking about Parivar. And that I would like to read it to you, what Baba is mentioning about family. Maybe I will show you also on the notes. Can you Jai, help me? In one of these murlis, Baba was speaking about our effort in relationships. We're searching for it. HP લાવો છે HP લાવો ઓફિસ ઓકે મૂકો પડાવ્યો છે HP લાવો okay relationship you see here it is relationship and connection and Baba was speaking about being embodiment of the four subjects Gyan Yog Dharana Seva. So when we are embodiment of those subjects, what happens? There was this relationship and connection. When Baba said any BK in family who is sad, dull in effort, under the influence of any sanskar, we need to give love, zeal and enthusiasm, cooperation, or love to contact soul. You accumulate charity of service in your account. It is an act of charity to uplift someone who has fallen. To do service of your relations and contacts is the duty of a true server. It should not be that service is only service you receive or given to you. Let service take place automatically through your thoughts, words, deeds, relationships, and connections. Good wishes and pure feelings. For those influenced by the sanskar, do not say, this one is like that anyway, he can never change. These are the subtle feelings of dislike. Then Baba's continuation of the subject, Baba will ask on Shivratri. Brahma Baba's teaching of 3 words of good wishes and pure feelings were coined in the 3 beautiful words, incorporeal, egoless, viceless. So we need to follow Brahma Baba. It is necessary to have such good wishes among yourself in the family, like Baba, that I'm just quoting. Do not look at anyone's nature. The Father knows that there is a conflict of natures. Many times Baba has been deceiving using this word. Baba knows, Baba Dada knows. So the Father knows that there is a conflict of natures, but the conflict of natures should not finish the love. It should not finish that relationship. It is not right that it would not let the task be as successful. This is a family. Which family is it? It is God's family, Prabhu Parivar. There should not be a lack of love due to any reason. Is love lacking? There should definitely be love, that is good wishes, no matter what someone is like. That's God's family. You are those who believe they belong to God's family. Then family means love. If there is no love in the family, it is not a family. So what lesson did you learn today? Did you make it firm? No one except God can have such a huge family. So coming back to the subject I was referring to, the family. So the Avyakti Parivar, it's a convergence of souls across different countries. And the work that they have been doing as a team, it's like taking out the cream. And especially the sustenance which Didi Mohini is giving is wonderful. So very simple language, and then she goes right at the heart. She reaches the heart. And then I've been listening to whatever she's been saying. Also, the other source that I have really been doing a lot of effort was on the Avyakti signals. For this month, like Baba says, we need to become fearless, unshakable, immovable, and constant. How we need to be Achal Adol. And the points that Baba has been giving also the last 2 days, Baba spoke about that how times are going to come. He spoke also about the untimely death. And even in the Murlis that you have brought up for revision, Baba has been speaking about large-scale death. And we need to be so fearless that and then it's not only a question of we are making effort, small groups here and there or in different centers across the globe, but Baba is converging. You can see that the time is coming when all our energy is getting converged, and when the day, Baba has revealed that a day will come when all our thoughts, we will all be having only one thought and experiencing that, and suddenly it will, in a flash, the transformation process will take place. The destructive process of all the negative elements will go away, and we'll come into that new age And then we have another part of it which brought my attention in the revision was about the advanced party. That is also a very nice reminiscence I would like you to visit again about what Baba spoke about advanced party. Can you show that? Advanced party. Let's go over reflective mode over this. When a trance messenger goes to Brahma Baba and the advanced party is made to emerge there, Father Brahma has a heart-to-heart conversation about early days with them. Can we imagine the scene? Can we visualize the scene? Out of all the Maharathis who have become instrument for establishment, many of those companions have become instrument in the advanced party. And Bab Dada has heart-to-heart conversations of the early days. Bab Dada and the advanced party have one thought. When will you open the gates? In other words, we. Because the advanced party alone cannot open it. Bab Dada alone cannot open it. The gates will open by all of you together. So they are asking, when will all of you eventually become ever ready in your incorporeal angelic form? Nowadays, even nature is calling out. The burden is increasing a lot of the body and mind. This is why all of them are invoking you. Now, show even a slight glimpse of your being ever ready. Yes. Now, both of you shared your experience. It's like you're already showing that glimpse. Now, show even a slight glimpse of your being ever ready. That glimpse is to reveal in a practical way your angelic incorporeal form. You make incognito effort, but this should now be visible in a practical way. The rays of light should be experienced from your forehead. The power of spirituality should be experienced through your eyes. Sweetness and cheerfulness should be experienced through your lips and your face. If you are asked about a date, then each one would think about it, because all of you, Mahavir, fast effort makers, have to return collectively as a group. You are not going to return later or earlier than others. First, your ever-ready form has to be revealed, through which the revelation of Bab Dada and his task will take place. So now make fast effort, give cooperation to one another, make them move forward, give weak ones your support, create such a gathering. So we can see the convergence of Brahmins all over the world in different ways. And I'm sure we are moving towards that time when revelation is not far. And in India, I have been witnessing sort of all the activities going over the BK circle all over the world. Like I see in India, a lot of centers are celebrating the 75th anniversary of Bharat Mahotsav. That goes into one of my reminiscences also in my school days. I don't know, I was always attracted to Bharat. Although I have not been there when I came into Gyan in this birth, most of us in Mauritius, we are in our 4th or 5th generation of the people who came from India. Our forefathers came there. I remember I was sitting in class one day, I was looking through the window, and suddenly I started drawing, coloring the flag of Bharat. And then I was saying, well, why am I doing that? And whenever the songs of, patriotic songs of India Bharat was being, I was hearing on the radio, because at that time we were still in those time when we didn't have those modern facilities. So on the radio we used to hear those songs. And I was really very much close to Bharat, although there was no sign here of course, in our culture there were a lot of things, but in the sense that we haven't seen the physical country as it is. So it was really a wonderful experience. Like when I'm thinking of my past, souvenirs or memories, and then now coming to Gyan, it's like very fast unfolding of how we are, each one of us, although lost. Baba says, no, tood gayi hai mala, moti bikhar chali. Now Baba is collecting all of us, the beads together. And it's such a pleasure to be with you today. And we can see that it's like presently we are making a small mala when we are meeting together. So I remember I was coloring this flag. And one beautiful thing I'm going to tell you also was one of my reminiscences was in when Prime Minister Indira Gandhi left her body. We heard the news on the radio, and on that day, there was a lot of winds on that day. It was very windy. The weather was, and I was, as a child, I was reflecting, you see, how even the elements of feeling, a great soul gone out of her body through violence. The notion of violence, as I was saying, sometimes, no, we have the souvenirs of our weak points, our scars, and so on. So when we see those negativities going all across the world, and we are all as a collective force accumulating our spiritual energy to be able to help ourselves first and foremost, and then help the whole human race. So these were just some random thoughts I was sharing with you. I hope somewhere it has created a sort of synergy among ourselves. And I could feel, like as I said, although I don't see you, but I know you are now about to go for your Murli. And I have just been crossing Amrit Vela. And now I also have to get ready for our class here. If ever you feel like you want to ask me any question, feel free.
Would anyone like to share any experience or ask any questions to Gayatri Ben?
The experience that I have from the time I've been in Gyan, and I shared this with Gayatri Ben also at that point of time when we were speaking, is about a time when I was a ardent practitioner of religious practices and the way I used to perform puja. And this whole journey from, if I don't do in a particular way, I'll be punished. From that thought, the journey from fear to faith has been my experience in Gyan. Today, when I connect with all those practices and the way Gyan has given me the access to know the spiritual essence of all those memories or all those practices that have been done in Bhakti Marg, I'm free from that. So the whole journey for me is an experience from fear to faith, connecting Baba from each relationship and deep diving in this relationship is the experience that I have in Gyan.
Nice, very nice. I think bhakti, there are a lot of things in bhakti that remind us of Gyan in a very vivid way, no? I think we have, when we refer to bhakti as Baba has been giving songs, we can create the bridge, we can relate and see that we join the dots and see our own individual pathways. Yeah.
Om Shanti. Good morning, everyone. Very nice experiences and very nicely said, Raki Ben. I was also in the Bhakti Mark from my younger days. Yeah, we also had so many vrats and all during Bhakti Mark, and we had so much of fear. Ye kalash gir jaye to ye hoga, haldi gir jaye to ye hoga, kumkum gir jaye to ye hoga. Oh God, we had full of fear, and that was how we have been brought up in Bhakti Mark. But once I entered this university, I'm just free of all this fear, and Baba is driving us towards faith, 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 and leaving us behind from fear. So this is my experience after coming here. A beautiful experience. Very nicely said, Raki Ben.
So you're already fearless.
Yeah, to some extent, right?
Yeah. It's wonderful to reflect about really how far have we become totally fearless. We have sometimes, these slight fears. I don't know whether I'm on the right track. But somehow Baba is there as our guide, and we can feel that he's, as Brother Vimish said, that we can feel that Baba is with us. True,
Every
absolutely
day
true.
when I brush my teeth, I look into my mirror and see what changes from yesterday to today and after entering
Wow,
this university.
really, that's great.
that
Wonderful, wonderful,
I
beautiful.
practice. If not everything, at least I practice that. Some changes should be there from the yesterday to today, at least little.
Yeah.
Shanti.
Shanti. I think all our experiences they converge in terms of that perfume, the fragrance that is spreading all across the whole world.
Om
Yeah.
Shanti, sister.
Yeah.
I just wanted to add my own personal experience in when we are talking about Bhakti Marg, and I don't know, I have always experienced this. Maybe I was lucky that I could see some of my past lives as well.
Wow.
I have experienced that all the religious forms through all the four ages have actually had the essence has always been pure. The essence has always been for one Almighty. But it is
Yeah,
we, the people, who have actually made all these fears and made the dilutions. So somewhere when we at times may in a subtle manner criticize the Bhakti Marg or this Marg, we also must remember that it is we who diluted the essence.
absolutely.
So we should not be also too skeptical, because when you look at the real essence, it was always pure. And even today, when we talk about what we are doing today, many
Yeah,
of us may be again going into a ritualistic mode, and we have to be very watchful about that.
true, true.
Because sometimes when something new and nice begins, it is always pure. And then over a period of time, you can again become ritualistic in your thought process. And
Yeah,
therefore, for me, I really respect and value all the four ages, because they have really taught each one of us at different times of our life, and they've really helped us to evolve. And I look at every age as with a lot of respect and with a lot of learning. And I remind myself that we should not again fall as it happened in the earlier stages, because the essence was never wrong. Essence was always there. Shanti.
true. The intention is always pure, no?
No, but what happens is when we were in Bhakti Marg, we used to do a lot of bhakti, but we were like अभी बाबा जो कहते हैं कि एक मत एक बाप और दूसरा ना कोई ऐसे, लेकिन suppose we believe in Rama, we would not keep sticking on to Rama or Hanuman. एक दिन हनुमान नहीं 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 आज मैं गणेश जी से ये मांगूंगी, नहीं कल मैं लक्ष्मी जी से ये मांगूंगी, ऐसे हो जाता था. So much of
Yeah,
wavering mind, so much we wouldn't be able to stick on to something, like
yeah,
to have something निश्चय कुछ determination रखने के लिए एक भगवान के ऊपर भरोसा रहना. ऐसे नहीं होता था, नहीं ये भगवान मैं आज ये इस भगवान से मांगूंगी उस भगवान से. अब तो बस एक बाबा और दूसरा ना कोई.
true, true.
Yeah.
So the
Yes,
religious path was all about being God fearing, and this path is about being God loving.
Yeah, exactly.
mm.
Okay, Gayatri, in the interest of time, can we have a short meditation and before
Yes,
we take on to complete the session?
sure. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, right here, right now, I gently disengage my mind from all the events of the past and even the future. I observe the thoughts in my mind, see the space between my thoughts and behind my thoughts. And I gently slip into my original and eternal space. Of pure silence. Beyond all impressions. Gathered within the soul, I find myself in a clear, lucid space, bodiless, light, double light, a tiny point of light, and weightless. I see myself floating and suddenly gathering speed in a flight of a fraction of a second back into my own home, our home, the soul world. Shantidham, Param Dham, the world of eternal silence. I see myself close to you, closer and closer to you, dearest Baba. Sitting beside you in utter silence. I can feel your love, your energy, embracing me, the soul. Permeating deep within me. I feel myself I absorb whatever it is you wish me, your child, your instrument. To play whatever role that I will have to do now on, having filled myself I gently, unreluctantly come back into the physical field, back into the physical plane of existence, ready to resume my part for today. Om Shanti. Okay, so I would say thank you for having given me this opportunity. I rarely speak in English. We usually speak in French and Creole, so maybe I have been a little bit too fast. Most people tell me that I speak too fast. So I'm learning from you. You are so, as we say, posé. In French, we say posé. You are pose and you share so nicely. It has been really a joy for me to be with you. And once again, I say thank you to
Om
everyone.
Shanti, sister, and on behalf of the Avyak study group, we are really, really grateful to you. It was such a pleasure listening to you. And although you may feel you spoke fast, I think we understood every word. You were very clear, and I was very impressed with your knowledge. And thank you so much for the sharing. And I'm sure the whole group has benefited from your expression of Baba's true words, and especially the beautiful summary that you made of all the murlis and put it up on the slide. It was a good revision. Thank you so much, sister, and Om Shanti, everyone.
Om Shanti.